First of all, thank you for inviting me to be on Mirror Talk today. It's a great honor for me to be here to talk about leadership, challenges, and a way ahead for us. Strategy is absolutely critical. As the old saying goes, if you fail to plan, plan to fail. And unfortunately, many IT leaders today are failing, and that's evidenced by a very high project failure rate and high leadership attrition. Clearly, we can no longer continue to manage and lead by firefighting or by making decisions by gut, intuition, politics, and subjective management whim. Instead, we need to move towards more strategic formulation and execution with strong enterprise architecture, sound IT governance, and solid IT and business processes. Sure. My approach is called the CIO Support Services Framework. It's a new approach that I developed and recently published a two-part article about in Public CIO magazine. In the CIO Support Services Framework, we establish a Office of the CIO, or OCIO, and we bring in the 6 strategic IT functions of the organization into the OCIO. We literally surround the CIO with these 6 strategic IT functions to help drive, improve strategic formulation and execution. By bringing them together, we ensure that there's no gaps in any of these, there's no redundancies in these functions, and there's no inefficiencies. We make sure that they're resourced appropriately and with the right people. And the 6 strategic functions are, first of all, enterprise architecture, which is our planning function. It's how we plan strategically, but it can also be how we plan tactically and operationally. Secondly is capital planning and investment control, or CPIC. That's our IT governance. That's how we select, control, and evaluate new IT investments. We put our plans to work and we make them pay off. The third one is our project management office. That's how we execute on our programs or projects from our target architecture, from our transition plan, and the decisions coming out of our governance boards. Fourth is how we service our customer, service and support. It's our customer relationship management, and it's everything from the requirements management through the development of the project, through the final execution and the ongoing operations and maintenance. We have to ensure customer satisfaction. 5 is IT security. That's how we ensure that all the information that we're providing through our systems and our programs and projects is secure. It's confidential, there's integrity, availability, and privacy. And 6 is the feedback loop back to the planning. It's business performance measurement. It's how we measure and manage to drive long-term success for the organization. When you have all 6 of these together, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. I was actually inspired by the many terrific IT management best practices that are out there today, and there's a lot of great ones. Everything from ITIL to PMBOK, the Project Management Book of Knowledge, COBIT for IT governance, even the Federal Enterprise Architecture for planning. There are so many good ones, but the key to the CIO Support Services Framework is that we need to bring these best practice frameworks together because each one is skewed towards their own particular functional area, and we need to make it simple for users and project managers to start a project and complete it successfully. So what we want to do is create a simple, integrated, and streamlined process. The analogy of a monopoly board it comes to mind. It's so simple that a child can understand it. You go around the board logically and sequentially from the start of the project until the completion of the project, and you're ready to start the next one. And the idea is there are no more failed projects that end you in the proverbial monopoly jail or on the OMB watch list or on the front page of the Washington Post. Two major benefits for IT leaders that really commit to it and invest in the CIO Support Services Framework. The first is there's going to be improved IT strategic formulation and execution. I mean, clearly, by putting together the 6 strategic functions of planning, investing, executing, servicing, securing, and measuring, we're going to be able to synergize the ability to vision and strategize and innovate, modernize, and transform the organization. Secondly, by having a strong office of the CIO, we'll be better able to drive the strategic things that are important in the organization over the long term. For example, in the area of information, we'd like to have better information, more mobile information, information sharing, and quality. For our systems, we'd like to be able to consolidate them, make them interoperable, and have component reuse so that we build once and are able to reuse multiple times. And finally, in terms of our technology, we want to be able to standardize it, simplify it, and achieve cost efficiencies from it. The idea is we want to be able to cure the symptoms of the firefighting, the day-to-day firefighting, and move towards more strategic formulation and execution over the long term. There are 5 critical steps to implementing the CIO Support Services Framework. The first is there has to be genuine management commitment to doing this. Obviously, it's a cultural shift from leading by firefighting or the day-to-day problem, moving towards strategic formulation and execution. So there's a paradigm shift in what we're doing. We need to commit to that. Secondly, we're looking at some sort of restructuring or reorganization in order to pull these 6 functions together into a holistic and synergistic way to move forward. Thirdly, we need to resource and fund these functions appropriately, the right people to the right job, an appropriate level of funding so that we can actually execute. And continuing the human capital theme, number 4, we need to ensure the right training for our people so that they understand the IT management best practices and that they have the right tools to implement it. And number 5 is it's an ongoing focus. We need to realize the results aren't going to be achieved overnight. It's a program rather than a project, but it's something that is achievable. It's actually really great. As I said, it's a new concept, and what I'm doing right now is I'm creating awareness and an understanding for what the CIO Support Services Framework is. But what I see happening over time is that we will have all 6 of these strategic functions supporting the CIO. They will work together in some fashion or form, and that they will help us to drive improved IT operations in the future. And it's a very exciting prospect, and I'm very optimistic about it for our organizations in the future.